देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभृतिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा। सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा। Thank you.
Thank you, Sai Shrestha. I would now like to call upon Sri Lakshmi of Class 5 to take over the proceedings.
Jai Gurudev and good morning to one and all present here. To come out of loneliness, you make friends, but coming together in knowledge is rare. Be a friend in knowledge and uplift each other. With this inspirational quote by our Puja Guruji, I, Sri Lakshmi of Grade 5, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Vidya Mandir, Vignan Nagar, welcome you all to this session of SSRVM Pre-Lit Fest 2021. It is said that there is no friend as loyal as a book. Books are the key to infinite wisdom as it opens the doors to our imagination, knowledge, vocabulary enrichment, speaking fluency, etc. Regular reading helps children in understanding the changing world. Children's Literary Fest 2021 visions to inculcate reading habit in young minds and to make them fall in love with reading. This literary fest has also given us an opportunity to interact with poets, writers, storytellers, and librarians, thus making a memorable experience for us. It has motivated many young minds to enjoy immersing themselves in a good book and enjoy hearing good poetry. We students are fortunate to be a part of this wonderful journey. With this thankful note, I cordially and respectfully welcome our distinguished guest of the day, Ms. Sampurna Murti ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. I take this opportunity to extend a gracious and warm welcome to Srimati Rama Venkatesh ma'am, the head of our Academic Council and the members of Academic Council SSRVM Trust. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Srimati Jayashree Murali ma'am, a passionate reader and a storyteller. Jayashree ma'am is the resource person for SSRVM Pan India for promoting languages, books, and activities related to literature. She is the inspiring source, mentor of the Literary Fest. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. I am also delighted to extend a warm welcome to Shri Samir Kapadia sir, library educator and book distributor. Samir sir is an avid reader, a storyteller, and holds sessions for librarians. Welcome, sir. I would also like to welcome respected principals, vice principals, librarians, teachers, and students of SSRVM from all over India. Now, I would like to welcome Ayan of SSRVM, Vignanagar, to take over the session to give a brief profile of our distinguished chief guest, Ms. Sampurna Murti.
Jai Gurudev and a very good morning to all present here. I, Ayan, on behalf of the entire SSRVM family, take the privilege and honor to read the profile of our chief guest, Ms. Sampurna Murti ma'am. Ms. Sampurna ma'am is a biochemist by training and an editor by choice. She wandered into publishing more by accident than by design because of her love for books and her language skills. She was associated with Pratham Books, a non-profit multilingual children's publication, for more than a decade. She is currently involved in creating and reviewing science content for Pratham, an educational non-profit organization. She loves to travel, visit historical sites, and meet people. She is a cat lover and spends a lot of time with her furry felines. I would now request Sampurna ma'am to enlighten us with her stories.
ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Ma'am, we
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. So, good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to be here and to conduct this session for all the students of SSRVM. And it's really, going to be a story reading, some storytelling session. And hope you like the story and are and feel entertained and are entertained by it. The name of the session today and the story is Best Foot Forward. So, do you all know what the meaning of Best Foot Forward is? What does Best Foot Forward mean? Anyone?
Yes, students, one of you can unmute yourself. Girija ma'am, are you there?
Ma'am, move forward.
Yes. Sampurna ma'am, they are saying move forward.
Yeah,
Move
it's
forward.
raising a hand.
Doing our best. Ma'am, move forward.
Yes, exactly. Doing your best. That's what Best Foot Forward means. Putting in all your effort to do the best you can, right? So the name of the story is also Best Foot Forward. So let's see if the actual meaning is what the story is all about. Now, is the story projected on the screens? Can you all see it? Yeah,
We will do it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you can
Okay. So can you see what the picture is about? Can you tell?
see the screen, ma'am.
Yes. Many of you know what the picture is about? Yeah? Anyone? Any of the children?
Manasvi Sharma, you can say.
Whose picture? What is the illustration trying to depict? It's an animal. So which animal? Anyone?
Ma'am, it's about a centipede.
Yes, it's about a centipede. And what's unusual about a centipede? Have any of you seen it?
He is
Ma'am, it's wearing shoes.
Yes. But what's unusual about a centipede? How many
It's
shoes?
wearing shoes.
They are wearing shoes.
Ma'am, it's very different type of shoes.
How many pairs of shoes do you wear?
And we wear only one pair of shoes.
Only one pair.
We wear only one pair.
We only wear one pair.
So now, how many pairs of shoes is the centipede wearing? You don't have to count, but it's definitely many pairs, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
5.
Means
feet. And that's usual about the centipede. They have many feet. In fact, the word centipede tells you that. Do you know what centi stands for? C-E-N-T-I? You use it.
it stands for 100, ma'am.
For 100, ma'am.
Yes, it means 100. And pede means, what does pede mean?
Feet.
Exactly. So a centipede is supposed to have 100 feet, 100 pairs of feet. But in reality, you could find centipedes with fewer feet or more. No centipede has exactly 100 pairs of feet. Okay, but it's a name that has just stuck. So that's a centipede with all his collection of shoes. And obviously, he's set out for a walk. Right? And he's going to put his best foot forward and walk around. So let's go to the next page. Yes. Now, do you see what is there?
And it's pair of shoes.
So many pairs of shoes all neatly lined up. Right? Because he needs so many pairs of shoes for his multiple feet.
Ma'am, there are 21 pairs.
Yes. So obviously, how many feet does he have?
42.
Yes.
42.
Okay. So now can we go to the next screen? Next page. Yes. Now you can see Mr. Centipede is out taking a walk and he meets some of his friends. Can you tell what the insect in the picture is?
Dragonfly.
Dragonfly.
Female dragonfly. It's a female dragonfly and it's called a damselfly. Okay? The female of the dragonfly is called a damselfly. So he meets his friend, Mrs. Damselfly, who says, "Oh, Mr. Centipede, watch how you, which foot do you place before which when you walk? Well, we have only 2 feet. So we have only, two choices. We either place the right foot forward or the left foot forward. But the centipede has many choices. So when the damselfly asks him, which leg do you place before which when you walk? Obviously, Mr. Centipede has to answer. But what happens? He first says it's leg number 2. And he says, no, actually, it is leg number 4. And he seems not very sure which leg he puts before which. The next page. Okay. So now what happens? Now he meets somebody else. Who's that?
Beetle.
Yes.
Big beetle.
I'm sure.
He meets with big beetle. Big beetle.
It's a beetle.
Question. Which leg do you place before which when you are walking? And Mr. Centipede is quite annoyed. He says, what a silly question that is. And he sticks out leg number 3. Okay? Puts it down quickly. And then he sticks out leg number 6. So, an ant comes along. He's an old, wise ant. And he wants to know what's happening here. Why is there so much of commotion and Mr. Centipede saying something? So Dame Damselfly says, Mr. Centipede is terribly confused. And why is he confused? despite having so many feet and so many boots on his feet, he has not been able to take a single step forward. So the ant says, okay, tell me, Mr. Centipede, which leg do you place before which when you go for a walk? So now Mr. Centipede starts simply with this one and lifts up leg number 4. Oh no, I actually lift leg number 8. And then he says, oh no, I've forgotten which foot I placed before which. So poor man and poor centipede, he's so confused with so many feet as to which one to place before which. But do you think he's always confused when he walks?
No.
No.
No. No.
Really?
ma'am.
No.
I think
So-
so. Yes.
No, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, only
Now-
when somebody asks, he gets conscious and confused.
Yes. So now there is another insect in the picture called the stick insect. Have you all ever seen a stick insect?
Yes.
Yeah.
A stick is so common because it looks like a stick. When it sits in a branch, you can't make out whether it's a twig or an insect till it moves. So the stick insect comes along and he says, you with all those boots, you better run. And why does he say that? Because, can we have the next page? He says, I have spotted a blackbird and she seems hungry and ready for breakfast. She cannot see me because I look like the tree bark I'm resting on. That's how the stick insect hides itself. But she sure can see you dressed up in all those bright, colorful boots. So run quickly. Why is he saying that? Because ladybird would come and catch the centipede and eat him up. And then the stick has a hearty laugh. So the spider asks, why are you laughing? What's so funny? So the stick insect says, oh, there was no blackbird. I was just having some fun and make Mr. Centipede with all those boots run. So now it's proved that Mr. Centipede can run. So what was it that was happening initially when he couldn't take a single step forward? So can we have the next page? Yes. Now, why was Mr. Centipede having such a problem with even taking a single step? But he could run very easily. Somebody said that when you think about it, then you can't do something, right? You get confused. It's something you do something very involuntarily without thinking of it. But when suddenly someone asks you something, then you get totally confused. So this is what is called the Centipedes Dilemma. Because the centipede has so many legs and he was asked which foot he places before which, he suddenly got all confused. Whereas he walks around and runs quite easily. This is also called Humphrey's Law. And this Centipedes Dilemma was written in the form of a very short poem. Maybe after the session is over, all of you could go online and look for the poem. It's a poem by Catherine Craster. Okay? And it's called the Centipedes Dilemma. A very short poem, a 6-line poem, which I'll read out to you. And she wrote it in the year 1871. That was much, much, much before any of us were born. But she recognized the Centipedes Dilemma and she could put it in the form of a poem. So I'm going to read out the poem to you. The centipede was happy, quite, until a toad in fun said, "Pray, Which leg moves after which? This raised her doubts to such a pitch, she fell exhausted in the ditch, not knowing how to run. So that's a little poem about the centipede and the confusion, which is called Centipedes Dilemma. Can any of you say when you or any of us would have such a dilemma? To do some simple action which we all do most easily every day.
Move.
See, when
Walk.
writing an exam paper, you write every day, but then you get tense when you're writing an exam paper.
Okay. Well, there, I think, yeah, an exam has its own, tense moments. But think of something simpler where there's no exam tension. It's just something you do every day.
Like every day you will like cycle normally in your normal speed. Then suddenly one day your friend will be like, come on, let's have a race. Then you will get tense like, oh yo, how can I go fast?
Like
Or if your friend asks you, which foot do you first start pedaling with? You don't think about it when you're cycling, right? You just put a right foot or a left foot depending on how you're comfortable. But suddenly someone asks you, which foot do you start cycling with? Then you have to stop and wonder, is it the right? Is it the left?
I use both.
Use both, exactly. And another action that I could think of is, knotting a tie. There are people who knot a tie very easily every day, involuntarily, you do it. But same with me. I can knot a tie on myself. But if you ask me, do I put the right part of the tie over the left, then what do? I will not be able to explain. And if you want me to do it in those steps while explaining, I'll never be able to knot the tie. Same with tying your shoelaces. You do it every day without even thinking. But if you have to scientifically analyze it, right over left, cross this one, take it from under it, take it over it, then you're going to stumble. So this is what is called Humphrey's law. And this has become, it is even propounded as a psychological theory, which is called the Centipedes Dilemma. And it says that something that you do very easily, the minute you start thinking about it, then your action gets affected. So that is what today's story was all about. Now, do you want to do a little quiz?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you saw that the centipede had many legs, right? The centipede could have 40 pairs to 117 pairs. And before we go on to the quiz, I'll tell you something very interesting about centipedes. You know where centipedes live?
Centipedes?
Pardon? Where do they live?
They live in soil.
Places, right? So under some bushes, and there are many varieties of centipedes all over the world. They sting out of because of self-defense, and it's like a bee sting. It'll irritate you and hurt you a little bit, and then it'll become okay. No centipede sting is so poisonous that it can kill a person. So the next time you see centipedes, you don't have to be too worried about them as long as they don't sting you. And centipedes feed on many insects, many pests, like the cockroaches, flies, like that. So they are actually useful. And they are very important part of the food chain. Centipedes, like I said, have so many legs. If a predator, like a bird, happens to catch hold of a centipede, the centipede can wriggle out and shed a few legs and escape. So the bird will be left with a mouth big full of centipede legs, no centipede. The centipede can run away and leave behind its legs. And the most interesting part is, in due course of time, it can grow those legs. Those legs can get regenerated. So it doesn't really matter to a centipede if they lose a few legs. I'm sure it wouldn't matter to us if we had 100 legs. But because we have only 2, we can't have those kind of liberty. We can't take those kind of liberties and leave behind a leg of ours. We won't be able to walk. So a centipede can regenerate its legs. And the number of legs of a centipede during its entire lifetime keeps changing. Because when it regenerates, it doesn't have to regenerate the exact number it lost. It can regenerate more, it can regenerate less. So if a centipede starts out with, say, 68 pairs of legs, maybe in the course of its lifetime, it will have 75, or it can come down to 65. So that's not constant. So that's a very interesting thing about centipedes. And then, of course, they like to live in dark, damp places, in the gardens, under stones. And it has the other interesting thing about centipedes is that they are very, very fast. Obviously, with so many legs, they can run really, really fast, right? So they're very fast. And can you see what is on the screen right now? Can you make out?
Ma'am,
Can you
we
see?
can see only you.
Oh, you can
Sir,
see?
we can only you.
We can only see you.
Okay, okay.
Again, need to share same screen.
Yes, I think so. We need to share a screen. Can you remove this one?
That means we have already read the story. So right now, where need to go?
We can remove the story, but I have somebody else who is also logged in. Has logged in.
Okay.
Can you share her screen?
Yeah, they can share the screen.
They can share?
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, I'll just focus this. Wait, I'll just show you something. Okay, now can you see something? I have a plant next to me. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Some
What?
create.
Yes, ma'am. Centipede. Ma'am, it's a centipede.
Yes, there's a centipede in this plant. Of course, it doesn't live here. It's just visiting. So that's how the centipedes, you could find them in many plants. Once in a while, if you look under a rock or something like that, you are very likely to find a centipede.
Ma'am, but the most common thing in our apartment is millipedes.
Oh, you see millipedes? Yes, I was just coming to it. There's a similar insect called, not insect, worms in a way, called the
They have
millipede.
millions of legs.
Yes, they don't really have millions of legs, but yes, the word comes from 1,000, right? So, yes, and their legs are much smaller. You can't make out so many legs, and they are fatter and darker. Millipedes, yes. So now I told you we'll have a little quiz. So can you tell me which insect or what animal has one leg? Have you ever come across any? Do you think any animal or insect could have one leg?
Yes, there is one, but I don't know its name.
Have you ever seen a snail?
Yeah, snail doesn't have a leg.
Well, it has what is called a,
Ma'am, I have never seen the snail.
well, the minute you try to touch a snail, it goes into its shell.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Look,
many snails. You can find one everywhere.
yes, in the gardens, always, and especially during the rains. And you have those big ones and you have really tiny ones.
Ma'am,
Right, so-
in my apartment and near my apartment, one park is there. Over there in rainy season also there, I didn't see any snail.
You didn't? Oh. Usually you find them in the garden and they come crawling into your veranda or the house along the
I've seen slugs, not snails.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So many snails come in my house
Hmm.
and eat my old plants.
Yes, yes, that's what they feed on. That's why you have to get rid of them. They feed on leaves. Yes, they do. So snails are garden plants, and they have a little shell. So, and they have one little thing protruding from their undersurface. That is the one which helps them to walk. It's not really a leg, but that's how they are called, unipedal. Okay, what about two legs?
There are many.
How many animals do you know with two legs?
Two
Birds.
legs.
Birds.
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 Animals.
Kangaroos.
Brown sloth.
Tiger. Lion.
Human beings.
Human beings.
Yes,
Human beings.
right.
Human beings.
Ostrich. Then kangaroos. Human beings.
Yes. Four legs?
Cheetah. Lion.
Lion. Bear.
Tiger. Lion.
Tiger. Cheetah. Ma'am. Bear.
Dog.
Animals have
Cat.
And
Ma'am. Dog.
Yes.
Turtle. Cow.
You know an animal with six legs?
Ant. Ma'am. Insects.
Insects.
Insects have 6 legs.
insects have 6 legs.
Not all insects. Most of them. Which animal has 8 legs?
Spider. Ma'am. Spider.
True.
Ma'am, but spider is not an insect.
It's not an insect. What is it?
Ma'am, it's an animal.
Well, all of us are animals. We all belong to the animal kingdom. We are not plants. But there are classifications, right? So those are insects. And the others are not called insects, right? But we are all part of the animal kingdom.
Ma'am, he means that in the science class, ma'am taught us that spiders do not belong in that group of insects, and it belongs to some other group which has that one. That's why he's saying like that.
Ma'am, it is the mammal. It is in mammal.
Yes, true. That's very right. But the thing is that then you have to go into, further classification and group them. Like, for example, if you think of, we'll come to that. Do you know any animals which have 10 legs? Or even before that, another animal which has 8 legs? Spider is, of course, one of them. There's another animal and it lives in the sea.
Octopus.
Yes,
Octopus.
You can call it
October.
or whatever. Right? These are limbs. So an octopus has 8 of them. Yes. Now can you think of some animal which has 10 legs?
Ma'am, camel spiders.
Spiders? Camel?
Yes.
I haven't heard of a camel spider. But have you seen crabs?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Crabs have 10 legs.
Lobster. Ma'am, lobster.
They have 10 appendages, of which 10 pairs, of which two are called pincers, by which they hold on to things, and there are 2 claws, and 6 they use for moving. So when they run on the sand, they use 6 of their legs. There are 4 more which they can use for various other purposes. So they are all appendages. And again, like somebody mentioned, that spiders are not strictly animals, neither are crabs. Okay? Because
Ma'am, crabs are belong to a group called crustaceans.
Crustaceans means something with a shell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're all part of the animal kingdom. You're right, absolutely right. Crustaceans are things with shells. So if you have seen a lobster that has a shell, crabs, and they all have these appendages, of which some are specialized for doing something else and the others are used in locomotion, help them move. Right? So these are the various animals and how many legs they have and feet they have. What is the scientific name for feet? What do we say? It's there in the word of the animal whose story we heard.
Speed.
Speed. And that's why a cycle has a pedal.
Pedal.
Exactly. PD, which means legs. So
Leg, you press it with your leg, you like press it, right?
yes, absolutely right. So therefore, you have unipedes and quadrupeds, which means how many legs they have. So four-legged is quadruped, which are most of the animals like the cows and the tigers and the elephants. Right? So you have
actually, ma'am, an octopus actually has 6 legs only, and the front 2 are actually used. Actually, the back 2 are used to propel them up,
right.
And the rest are hands.
That's what I said. They are called appendages. So they could be used as arms or they could be used as legs.
Ma'am, their arms and legs also have suctions.
Yes, suction caps. Yes. Or what does it help them to do?
It helps them to like grab the food.
Or climb on walls.
It can stick to rocks. It can stick to rocks.
And camouflage themselves.
The octopus can stick onto a rock because of the suction cap. Do you know of any other land animal which has these suction caps?
Gecko.
Yeah.
Ma'am, tree frogs. Ma'am, tree frogs.
Ma'am,
tree frogs.
Tree frogs.
No, ma'am, lizard.
Lizard, yes. How do they stick to the wall?
Ma'am, in houses there will be lizards, ma'am. They can climb on walls and everything.
They stick to the wall.
Ma'am, the snake have them, ma'am, because they slide on walls and trees and everything.
Snakes? Can they climb walls?
No.
Yeah, ma, not really.
No, ma'am.
They can climb a wall.
You can climb trees, ma'am, like moving like this.
Ma'am, that tree snake there, it will be hanging from up to down, right, ma'am?
Yeah. It does. Tree snakes on trees, yes. But I've never seen a snake climbing up a tree. I don't know how they get there. Interesting question.
I think they'll go round the trunk and then they'll reach
Yeah,
up.
ma'am. They'll go like this around the trunk. It's like you travel in a winding street.
Grab the tree.
Must be doing something like that.
Yeah.
It would
Do
be
that
interesting.
and hang from the branch like upside down.
Yeah. True. So did you like today's story?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I loved it.
Yes, ma'am.
It was fun.
Climb walls by PVC pipes.
Pardon? What about PVC pipes?
Ma'am, snakes will climb our houses by the PVC pipe and all.
Do they? I don't know. I've never heard that.
Yeah, ma'am, they can, but I've never seen one do that.
Could be. I have no idea. I've not heard of snakes coming in the higher floors of houses. I know they get into houses which are open outside on the ground floor.
Maybe they can like make them kind into any shape and they can climb the stairs like.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll use the lift. Their tail is so long, they'll press the button and go into the.
To show you.
But so for a snake, they will take a lift.
Okay. I have can you see what I have here?
No, ma'am.
Not very clearly.
The half of it.
Can you see this?
It's a centipede.
Yes. It's a close-up of a centipede.
Ma'am, can you lift it more?
Can you lift your camera a bit, ma'am? Otherwise.
Just a minute.
Was it a real centipede? No, ma'am.
Ma'am, a bit down, so we can see it.
I'm lower.
I think it is not a real.
Now okay. Now it's okay.
Now we can see it.
Yeah. So that's how a close-up of a centipede would look.
Ma'am,
And
is
it
that
has-
real?
But here is the photo.
Oh, it isn't. In
Ma'am,
fact,
what you
honestly-
showed
It looks
before,
so
was it
strange.
real?
It was so
No,
strange.
that was not real. I got it to show you.
How many pair of legs?
Ma'am, it looked so real.
Look so real. That's nice.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
a
It was like
really
a live centipede walking. It looked like
Ma'am, I thought you caught a centipede.
Yeah, here it is.
Ma'am, it
can I
looks
lift
like
it, ma'am?
looks like the real one.
Ma'am, is it a paper cutout?
Yes, it is.
It's like a real one.
That paper cutout looks so real.
That's big.
so real that we will fully think that it's real.
Yeah.
I also.
It's a picture of a centipede on a leaf. So it blends with my plant.
Ma'am, that's why I was thinking, what's so strange? You can hold the leaf and the centipede is not at all moving. It will, of course, get irritated.
Yes, it will run. It will run. It doesn't have to think which foot to put forward.
Man, first I thought that was sleeping in your hand, man. Then I looked at it in paper.
Yeah. So I hope you had fun listening to the story. I did.
Yes, ma'am.
Talking
Ma'am,
to
I
you all
also
of
We
you.
had a lot of fun.
We had a lot. Very exciting.
Yes, ma'am. Centipedes shoot.
Ma'am,
Very
it was
exciting also, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you read one more story, ma'am?
Story.
Yes, ma'am,
Yes,
please.
ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Read a story because I haven't selected the one, but there's a little story which I'd like to share with you. I also would like to tell you that since you all spend so much time on the internet, maybe you should, take a look at a site called Story Weaver. Okay? Go on to a site called Story Weaver when you have time. And if you log on to that site, you will see thousands of stories. And it's a free platform. Create an ID and you can read as many stories as you want. You can download the stories and create your own library. So go on to that site sometime and you'll find books on kind of. In fact, the story I just read is there. It's called Story Weaver.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, have you written the story or who has written it?
No, I haven't written it. It's written by a person by the name of Rustam Dadachanji and illustrated by a young artist by the name of Tanvi Bhatt. And I think she has got delightful illustrations. Rustam Dadachanji is the person who has written the story.
Ma'am, can you read a story that you made, ma'am?
Can I read a story? What?
Can you read a story that you wrote, ma'am?
Oh, I don't write stories. I only edit them. I haven't written. I'm not an author. Well, I am an author, but not of stories which I like to read other people's stories, but I can't write. I can't write stories.
I keep on thinking of my own.
I write other stuff. I write scientific articles and stuff like that. But I don't write. Skill I have.
Ma'am, can you read out another story then? Which is of some other person?
I don't know if I can ask for another story now. That will probably take a little time. I can just tell you a story. You can probably read sometime later. So, Lakshana, are you there? Can I do that?
Sampurna ma'am, Sulakshmi
Yeah.
ma'am is not. She has class. She has
Okay.
class, so she has left.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to know, can I quickly do a story which would probably take 5 minutes?
Only 5 minutes? Then it's
Yeah,
fine.
it's a very short
Sampurna.
story.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, okay. Because I know we are approaching closing time, so I'll do it quickly. Okay, this is a story called Alu, Malu and Kalu. Okay? Can you think of what these names stand for? Do they belong to people or do they belong to something else?
Ma'am, some
Anybody?
animals.
Ma'am, animals?
Animals?
Well, one of them is an animal. Actually, two of them are animals.
Then there must be insects. Insects?
Insects and animals.
One is a vegetable.
Birds and animals.
Two are animals and
Plants
one
and
is a vegetable.
animals.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, a person and two animals.
Alu is an vegetable and Malu and Kalu are
Yeah, animals. Well,
animals.
Alu is a vegetable and Malu is a little boy, also belongs to the animal kingdom. And Kalu is his little black dog. Okay? So one day, Malu is visiting his grandmother's house. He lives in the city. He is visiting his grandmother over a vacation. His grandmother tells him, Malu, I want you to go into the garden and pluck some vegetables. You will find a whole lot of them. So you can get me some brinjals and lady's finger and some potatoes. So Malu takes a basket and of course Kalu goes with him. And they go into the garden. He finds the brinjals, he finds tomatoes, he finds lady's fingers. But he looks everywhere and can't find any potatoes. So he comes back, gives the basket to his grandmother and says, Nani, there are no potatoes in your garden. So she says, of course they are. Go look properly. So Malu goes into the garden again and looks at all the creepers and the shrubs and under the leaves and all over and can't find any potatoes. So why do you think he didn't find any potatoes?
Ma'am, because they were growing underground.
The potatoes grow underground.
Because they were underground.
Yes.
They're underground stems.
And Malu didn't know.
Underground stems.
Potatoes,
Under the ground.
yes, potatoes grow under the ground. And Malu didn't know that. He thought potatoes were like any other vegetable, which would grow on trees or shrubs. So he kept looking and suddenly he found his little dog furiously digging away, in the garden. And dogs do that, right? They like to dig. And Malu shouted at Kalu, filling the garden. Don't do that. Nani will be very angry with you. And Kalu kept barking. So Malu went to see what was happening. And there where Kalu had dug a hole in the ground, he found nice big potatoes. So Kalu had helped him find the potatoes. They were under the ground and Kalu had found them. So then he realized that, okay, potatoes under the soil. They're not like other vegetables which you find on the plant. So of course he plucked nice potatoes for his grandmother. Do you know other vegetables which grow under the soil?
Onion.
Ma'am, carrot. Onions. Ma'am,
Yes.
turnips.
Radish.
Turnips, carrots, onions.
Ma'am, beetroot.
Yes.
Ma'am, turnips, carrots, onions.
Yes.
Radish.
Yes.
Potato, beetroot, turnip.
Yeah. Ginger, garlic, lots of sweet potato. There are so many of them grow. Now I want you to find out one thing. Maybe you all know. You're all a very smart bunch of kids. These parts of these vegetables, they are part of a plant, right? They grow under the ground, but they are part of the plant. So which part of the plant are they?
Ma'am,
Underground. Ma'am, roots. Ma'am, roots. Ma'am, roots.
Roots?
Roots. Ma'am, roots, ma'am.
Most of them are root. Potato is not a root.
Potato is a stem. Underground
Yes.
stem.
Yeah,
Yes.
underground.
Ma'am, underground stem.
Yes, very smart. Very good.
Ma'am,
Sweet
it's an underground.
underground stem. Ginger is also an underground. Yes. So you
Ma'am,
can
banana also, banana.
banana.
Banana tree.
Underground stem.
Banana doesn't grow under the ground.
Bananas grow on trees.
Yes, they do. Definitely. So these vegetables or what we are talking about, which grow under the soil, could be root or they could be the stems, and they are all very nutritious. Why so?
Ma'am, leaves are also there as vegetables.
Yes, leaves are, but these turnips, radish, carrot.
Ma'am, lettuces, cabbages, they are leaves.
Yes,
Ma'am,
they are
even-
leaves. I'm asking you, why are these potatoes, carrots, turnips, radish? Why are they so
Because
nutritious?
they get direct minerals.
Ma'am,
Because roots absorb the minerals which are present in the soil and they get the minerals. They extract the minerals.
Ma'am, because of minerals.
Ma'am,
So
because
they
they
have
are
all the
Extract the minerals.
Ma'am, they have many
Because there are many minerals in the soil, they absorb all of
yes,
which
yes.
Yeah, ma'am, because they're underground, right? So that that
Soil.
root inside the soil, the roots can absorb water and minerals directly.
Yes, yes. So they are very nutritious vegetables, right? Okay, so I think that's all we have time for now, right? So it was wonderful talking to all of you and interacting with you. Hope you had fun too.
Yes, ma'am. We
ma'am.
had a
I
lot
like-
of
Ma'am,
fun.
sure.
We had a great fun.
Had so much fun.
Great.
Enjoyed it. Ma'am, we
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it.
Thank you. I enjoyed myself too.
It was a wonderful session.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful
It
session.
was a wonderful story. There were some situations where we can relate ourselves to centipede. It happens to us daily. You have just connected to our daily practical situation where
Yeah.
we are more conscious on things which we already know or which is our habit. We tend
Exactly.
to make mistakes when somebody prompts or somebody asks for it. So, beautiful story with a strong message, ma'am. Thank you for it, ma'am.
Yeah. So next time you're knotting a tie or tying your shoelaces, get someone to ask you how you're doing it and see whether you can do it equally easily. Okay, so we'll close the session here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Now I call upon Dviti to express vote of thanks.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Jai Gurudev to all. I, Duty, on behalf of Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Vidya Mandir, Vignan Nagar, Bengaluru, I'd like to express my sincere thanks to our chief guest, Sampurna Murti ma'am, for engaging us with her lovely story. It was a wonderful story, ma'am, and we were all very excited. That centipede on the leaf was so lively. It was wonderful. The story we heard talks about putting one's best foot forward. There are two interesting things in it. We should put best of us in everything we do and should always be very involved enjoying those experiences. Whether in times of stress or otherwise, we should not get confused by what others say. Though Cent had many legs, it was not able to walk with a single step, but able to run very fast. Appreciate the way how a simple story is connected to our real life that makes us more conscious. Thanks for sharing your graceful words with us, ma'am. We got to learn so many innovative things. Your thoughts have enlightened our mind and shown us new path which is going to encourage us in our future. It was a wonderful session. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Rama ma'am, Jayashree ma'am, and Samir Kapadia sir, who graced this occasion with their presence. I thank the SSRVM Trust for giving us an opportunity to host this lively session. I would like to extend words of gratitude to Srividya ma'am for her support. I extend my sincere thanks to the SSRVM Tech Support team for rendering your support as always. I also wish to express my sincere gratitude to one and all